bass player, and then Mark Kiliansky, who plays in a great group called Golden Shoals, and the five of us, we went to John's kind of snowed-in cabin in the middle of the winter and recorded kind of a wacky old-time record called Adeline, which you can check out, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and in fact, I was lucky enough to do a track-by-track with Chris and Mark of the full album.
That's right. Thanks
folks
for doing
can go there and check that out.
Yeah,
and
that was a fun one.
I also did a track-by-track with Frank and Ben Plotnick of a group.
Another Toronto
of your own
musician.
album. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun. We both live in Nashville, and I took on the job of building some sound panels, and he took on the job of learning how to engineer a record, and we just walled ourselves in for 2 weeks and nearly killed each other, but then came out with, half a dozen tracks.
And then I was talking to a wonderful fiddler by the name of George Jackson who put out an album, and I understand y'all were in Nashville not too long ago, and there was a battle going on where you were playing with both bands.
The famous grudge match. Yeah. We had a great show in Nashville. It was really fun. He was sort of releasing his CD. He's had quite the month. He had meant to release the CD a while ago, but actually broke his collarbone and got the old COVID, and so that slowed things down a little bit. But we were happy to be there. The timing worked out, and so we had a really fun show in Nashville at the 5 Spot.
Well, as I said, you're wrapping up this tour right now. I know you've got another one coming up again in just a few months, but how about before we chat about that, we get another one from you?
Yeah, we're going to play just a bunch of stuff off this record we're about to release. And so this is one of mine. This is a song called Won't You Come Back Home. 1, 2. I was living on a mountain with my head up in the air, but you made me come down again. You couldn't leave me standing there. If I could drift above the valleys and a whistle in the breeze, but you gone away and left me 6 months and 3 days. Won't you come back home to your ever-loving mama, living in a house in the city so cold, all alone like a pine cone drifting down a heavy water stream. Oh, won't you come back to me? Rest my head upon a pillow, little pills before I sleep. You're halfway to Athabasca, I hadn't noticed in a week. If I could fly above a mountain, wouldn't have a nickel to my name. All my pockets would be empty, and you'd be right back here again. Won't you come back home to your ever-loving mama, living in a house in the city so cold, all alone like a pine cone drifting down a heavy water stream. Oh, won't you come back to me? Oh, won't you come back to me? Oh, I know the summer's coming and the winter won't be long. Late nights and loud parties couldn't do me any harm, but all the blossoms in the springtime won't bring it back happily. If I could fly above a mountain, if you could whistle close to me, won't you come back home to your ever-loving mama, living in a house in the city so cold, all alone like a pine cone drifting down a heavy water stream. Oh, won't you come back to me? Won't you come back home to your ever-loving mama, living
Live here at the stage at WTJU. Another one there from the Slocan Ramblers from their upcoming album, Up the Hill and Through the Fog. They're going to start releasing singles in the new year, and just keep an eye out on all the social media for what's coming from this band. Well, I talked about how you're wrapping up your 2021 concert here in Charlottesville, but you're getting ready to kick into a whole new tour in the new year, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going to be coming back to the Southeast in early February, the first few weeks. We're still kind of planning it, but we'll be at the Floyd Country Store doing their Saturday radio hour. I think the first Saturday of February, and then playing Boone, North Carolina, going down to Randy Wood Guitars in Georgia. So, yeah, just kind of putting the finishing touches on that tour, but we'll be kind of back in the Southeast then.
Nice. Well, we heard
Nashville as well, actually.
Oh,
Nashville show. Yeah, the station in, hopefully, so keep an eye out for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we heard what Frank and Adrian were up to, but Daryl, how about you? What were you up to over the lockdown?
I actually had a baby.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've been pretty busy with that, adapting to life with a newborn, but he's about a year old now, and it's...
You can leave him home on his own. So.
Yeah, he's self-sufficient. He cooks and cleans, and he's got a job now, so finally making an income. But
Exactly.
no, it's been great. It's been awesome to watch him grow and learn everything, and I'm learning a lot about myself too. So yeah, I've been really busy with that.
And how does he cope with music?
He really seems to like it. It really calmed him down at first. Sometimes to put him to bed, we'd put on like a Glenn Gould record of just classical music, and he seemed to fall asleep. I played him a lot of Tony Rice and Norman Blake and some bluegrass stuff, and he seems to get calmed down by Raffi too. So I've added a few sort of folk children's songs to my repertoire these days.
Well, Perry Lewis Paulusar, there's a name you want to check out.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
And Charles, I don't know a lot about you, so come on up and tell me about your background.
Oh boy! Oh, where to begin? I mean, I'm a freelance bass player. I play all kinds of music, but this has been a real education for me playing with these guys, playing bluegrass. And
Are you from the Toronto area?
I am. Yes. Yeah. We all. I actually went to school with Daryl and Adrian, so we go way back. And Frank and I go back even further, but that's a whole other story. I know his brother, and yeah, so
There's
lots of
still
connections.
a statute of limitations on that story.
That's
so
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, very nice. Well, for those just tuning in, we've got the Slocan Ramblers here, and they are winding up a tour here in Charlottesville, and they were nice enough to stop by the stage here and share a few with us and talk about what they've been up to. And I want to go around and just talk about the instruments for a second. Adrian, let's talk about that mandolin of yours.
Yeah, this is a mandolin, in case you're not really familiar with what it is. It's kind of tuned like a fiddle and played like a guitar. So it's kind of halfway between a guitar and a fiddle if you're not used to them, but it's kind of its own special thing. And this is made by a small luthier in Pennsylvania, a fellow named Stiver. It's just kind of hand-built by one guy about 40 or so years ago. So it's a great mandol. I'm lucky to have it.
Unique design. I like it. And Frank, you got two banjos with you, both the bluegrass and the old-time style, as they might say.
So the bluegrass one is a Gibson style 10 is what they call it. Cal Croydon, who's sort of a separate maker, but would work in the Gibson factory. So it's all Gibson parts from the 30s. And then, it used to be a tenor banjo that they stuck a 5-string neck on. And I've been enjoying this one for a while. But the open back is actually is built by a banjo maker just north of Toronto, a guy named Bill Rickard. He makes Rickard banjos. Yeah. And they've been really popular, especially in Nashville where I live now. You see everyone's been playing Rickard banjos. And he just sent me a new banjo that I've been playing and kind of been asking him to build me for a while. So I've been enjoying playing that, and just did a little promotional video with him, Billy Strings, to promote his banjos. And so they're amazing banjos. If anyone out there is looking for an open back banjo, I would highly recommend checking out Rickard banjos. Very, very cool guy.
Daryl, that guitar?
Oh yeah. This is a Collings Dreadnought acoustic guitar. It's sort of not even loosely, it's based sort of off the old Martins without the tongue brace. Mm-hmm. And it's just sort of a bare bones bluegrass machine, I'd say. I've had it since about 2014. It's had its fair share of cracks and what have you and all that stuff. But yeah, Collings is out of Austin, Texas, and they build really nice mandolins and guitars, electrics too. And I think not too long ago, maybe Bill Collings, the original owner and inventor, passed away, but they're still carrying on his legacy and building fantastic instruments. So, yeah, check out Collings Guitars.
And we come to that mighty bass.
Oh,
What's the
yeah.
history on that one?
Well, this is actually a Chadwick folding bass.
Yes.
So it's yeah, you know about it. Yeah. So the neck is on a hinge here, folds into the chamber. Pretty genius idea. Definitely saved my butt on the road. Made it possible to fly, and doesn't always stay in tune.
Yeah, first time I saw one of those, Bridget Kearney had one in the early days of Lake Street Dive.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She said, "Oh well, it doesn't always stay in tune, but it sure is handy."
Yeah, it's a trade-off, really. Makes a lot of things possible that otherwise wouldn't be. So, yeah.
Well, there you are. We've got the instruments up on stage, and how about we get the musicians to do one for us with their instruments?
Yeah, we're going to do one, an original by Adrian Gross, our mandolin player, and we're going to play one of his original instrumentals. This is one that's on that new record called Harefoots.
Live at the stage, an Adrian Gross original from the Slocan Ramblers, which you can find next year, coming out as a single before the full album, Up the Hill and Through the Fog, comes out. All the details on that over at slocanramblers.com and Twitter, Instagram, even MySpace, I understand.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's out there
It's somewhere there. Just type in Slocan Ramblers and it's bound to
find
pop
it.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, obviously, I mentioned the lockdown and everything, and what did you all have in store back in early 2020 that had to be shelved?
Well, we had, one of our sort of biggest followings is on the west coast of Canada, and we sort of do an annual or biannual tour there. And we were 2 shows into it, and, the way it sort of shut down in Canada was they were capping the amount of, the audience sizes. And so at first it was, in the arenas, and we were like, okay, this is fine. There's no 50,000, hockey games and things going on, but we should be okay with our 250, 300 seat theaters. And then it was 500, and we're like, oh, it's getting close, and then it was getting closer and closer, and we were 2 shows in. We were on our second show, and it was all shut down. So these guys got on a plane and flew back home. Charles and I just decided to rent a car and drive out west to spend some time on the West Coast, because it was like, maybe this thing will be all over in a week or so. But turns out we were quite wrong about that. Couldn't have been more wrong, in fact. But hard to see it coming.
Well, and you take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. It seems, with folks these days, everyone's out there touring again, and a new variant shows up. So life is strange that way. But the Slocan Ramblers just keep moving forward.
We're, rolling with the punches, as they say. So we're having a good time. We're just happy to play music for people. It's, kind of what we do and what kind of drives us to keep writing music and keep creating music. And so we're happy to be out here again. Obviously, it's trying to be as safe as possible. But, we're just thankful for all our fans coming out to shows and things like that.
Well, Frank, you're based out of Nashville these days. You get back up over the border?
Yeah, we recorded a record last year, so I got to go up to a studio to do that. It was really fun. We had all the precautions in place, and being a Canadian citizen, they let me through. But a little bit of quarantining involved, but it was worth it.
And Adrian, let's just talk about that project you did with Chris and John and the rest of them.
Yeah,
that was
sure.
kind of, you all showed up at John's house. You weren't just there for a few days, and then I know you lost power for a spell.
It was a real. It was a very almost like stereotype. Like if you're gonna make a joke about a bunch of Canadians recording an old time record in the winter, this is what you would come up with. We pretty much there was really no planning or no rehearsing beforehand. John pretty much figured out the tunes that he wanted to play. We all kind of collaborated a bit, but he was a fiddle player, so he had the real vision of here's 24 tunes, learn them all. When we show up, we'll just record all weekend and see what sticks. And most of us knew each other pretty well, but actually I think Mark and Sam, the guitar and bass player, had never met before. Not all of us knew each other super well. And we just kind of showed up the first night, hit record, recorded for many hours that night, and then literally just recorded for 3 days straight. And took the best takes and stuck them on the record. There was one moment where it was about minus 20 below, and snowing sideways with just total blizzard whiteout conditions, and the power went out, and then a bunch of us just went out to the back of John's house trying to figure out how to work a generator, watching a bunch of bluegrass musicians fumble with the generator, and a blizzard was quite a sight. Nobody could figure it out, and so we literally just lit a bunch of candles and had some beers and just played tunes. We actually took a photo. If you look up that band, Adeline, that project, the photos you'll see were from in that whiteout. We couldn't record music. We said, okay, let's just go do a band photo on the frozen lake. So it's like us, in this total whiteout. And but eventually, after about 4 or 5 hours, the power came back on. Warmed our fingers up, kept playing.
And how does that compare with your studio time
with these guys?
It
was great. It was super fun. It was entirely different. With the Slocans, we're pretty prepared when we get to the studio. We try to have. Studio time is expensive.
Yeah.
John's cabin was not. So, we had the luxury of just hanging out. And with John, it was well, if we get something great, if we don't, we don't. But with the Slocans, it's we went to a really nice studio. Everyone came really prepared, knew our parts, knew what we wanted, and then the whole idea was just to capture that as well as we, or capture that vision as well as we could in the studio, and then add to it. Then add layers, tweak it with our producer. Chris Stringer's a great producer. We worked with him. Try to make it as special as possible. But we came there with a pretty good feeling of it. Whereas for Adeline, a few people had never even met before. It was way more thrown together. Yeah.
Well, listen to your last recordings, and of course, Ivan Rosenberg, I know, worked with you all.
Yeah,
and of course,
great.
you were on the Littlest Dobro. And it's
yeah, that's right.
As I talk about that music scene in Toronto is just so strong.
It's a good one. Ivan actually just moved out. He is
Yeah.
in New Brunswick right now.
I know. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe you all let him leave.
I
but
know. Well, I think it was
You're
a
all
mix
too
of.
polite. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
that's it. He just took off.
Actually apologized to him.
Yeah. No, I mean it's going well. It's the opening in Canada has been a lot slower than down here. So it's like I think the music scene is doing well. There's still lots of good players around. There's some good venues, but I think we'll really find out in some time when things open up again, because it's hard to know what it's going to look like a little bit. But I have faith.
What's it been like touring in the U.S. During this strange time? Daryl, why don't you?
Yeah. Well, this is only our second time down here since everything sort of got shut down, and just from my own experience, like Canada's pretty regulated in a lot of sense. A lot of lockdowns. Every establishment you walk into, you have to wear a mask. There wasn't at the time no sit down eating or anything. It was all takeout. And then the first venue we walked in, I think somewhere in Buffalo, we walked in wearing our masks and had our hand sanitizer, and the bar was packed. Not a single person wearing a mask. Everyone chatting, and you discover the mask is to sort of keep germs that you might have away from other people, but we're all vaccinated and stuff, so we just at some point we just thought, are the masks really doing anything at that point? But it was great, because a lot of the shows we did the Podunk Music Festival, we did Gettysburg, and it's all outdoor bluegrass fest, and it felt very safe. It felt really good to play again too, and to see a lot of people we hadn't seen in a while, like our friend Serene Green. They're a great up and coming bluegrass band, and to pick some tunes with those guys. And yeah, I had a really good time. It is a bit tricky getting back over the border. You have to present a negative PCR test within a 72-hour window. So there are some logistics that make it difficult to go back and forth. But that's probably why it's our only second time here, with things getting shut down in between too. And this tour has been great too. Like, we had a lot of good house concerts. We played at the Bristol Country
Museum.
Farm and Fun Times, with Tim O'Brien and Bill and the Bells, and that was awesome. And we're looking forward to coming back down in February too, just to play some music.
Well, just keep checking out SlocanRamblers.com. Guys, you have another one for us?
Yeah, should we do one more, Peter, or two more? What do you feel?
How about we get two more in? Why,
You want to do Tom Petty?
The only thing is slides over.
We can do anything. Want to bring it down low,
Bring it down low.
or I don't know?
Yeah,
Let's do, I don't know.
okay. This is one Daryl was mentioning, or Golden Shoals, which is a group that I think has probably been through here before, and Amy, and so Amy's my girlfriend. When this whole pandemic started, we were on either side of the border, and it was, at that point, it was still tricky to sort of work our life so that we could live together, and it all worked out. We live happily in Nashville together. But when we first were talking, it was this thing where we would have a conversation and recount our day, which, anyone who's been in a long distance relationship will know that talking every day, it's like hard to come up with these dramatic things that happen to you every day, which is let alone having to recount your day when you've been confined to a bedroom. It's so I remember she kind of laid the ground rules at a certain point. She said, we just, you just can't ask me what I had for dinner tonight. Just not one more time. I can't do that conversation again. So we decided to write some songs together, and this is one of those songs.
Well, your money's better spent hanging around the metal fellas than I hang around the likes of me. But if you count me as a pony, you be a little Donny B as true as you are to me. Sale my cards close to my chest, but I'll show you mine if you show me yours. 'Cause you're the eye in my queen, you're the ace in my sleeve. I couldn't possibly ask for anything more. In these past few years, I hit the pavement and the beers, and it's taking its toll on me. They seem to keep me on track, always scratching my back, safe and warm from the storms at sea. I could be lying in bed and the soul in my head, about to wake up from the sweet memory. But if you happen to be real and you can touch and you can feel it, trade the word for you to be with me. Looking up me. I always thought it sounded good to have a cabin in the woods with only me to hear my thoughts and prayers. I'd write a novel through and through and maybe an opera or two and perform it for the fox and the bear. I get the love I need from the birds and the bees and the forest to be where I roam. Well, it used to be a tiger in the reeds, cause the catch a spell on me has been reduced to a kitten at home. Looking up at a girl, looking down at the world. I don't know what she sees in me. I never trust a man who doesn't know how to dance, but you've hung around enough with me. You've asked me all the 30 questions to get to know a person, so tell me now, what do you see? Are you looking for a secret in the jungle of my mind that you can't wait for me to show? 'Cause I promise my last words isn't dying in bed, won't be honey, there's something you should know. Looking up at a girl, looking down at the world. I don't know what she sees in me. I don't know what she sees in me. I don't know what she sees in me.
Live here at the stage, the sounds of the Slocan Ramblers doing another new one for us. And that also, I suspect, will be on Up the Hill and Through the Fog. Hey, gents, is that going to be available as CD or just a digital down the road?
We're going to release it as a CD. We still have lots of our bluegrass fans are CD lovers, and I
Yes,
just bought
indeed.
a 2004 Camry, and so I've been reverted back to my CD days, which there's something about when a band puts a record together. There's a lot of thought that goes into crafting that arc of the whole record, and going from the first tune to the very last. There's a lot of careful decisions that have to be made, and so I do appreciate the fact that when you put on a CD, you go through that whole experience as we intended it. So so that we will be doing a CD. We'll be putting out on vinyl as well, and but of course, anyone who listens to Spotify and Apple Music, you can find it there as well.
And thanks to the pop singer Adele, now she had the shuffle taken off of, so now you can listen to the whole album without it. Exactly. Jumping around on you.
Jumping around on you, yeah, which is, as long as the music's out there, it's good, but it is nice to have the whole experience.
Absolutely. Many folk DJs will tell you that CD is still what they prefer, so I'm delighted to hear you're going to have a CD out there that your bluegrass fans and folk DJs alike can all
There you
enjoy.
go. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Frank Evans on the banjo, Adrian Gross on the mandolin, Daryl Polson on guitar, and the newest member with us, Charles James on that big upright, are finishing up a tour here in Charlottesville tonight at the Front Porch. That show happens to be starting at 7:30. Chairs are all out of the way, and you can celebrate with them the end of their 2021 tour. What a year it's been. Gents, before we let you walk out the door, how are you going to close things?
We're going to close out with a tune that Frank's going to play. Frank's a great clawhammer banjo player, as well as a Scruggs banjo player, so we're going to feature him on the clawhammer on this tune, and do one of his tunes called Platform 4, another one from that new record, and we're going to send you off with this one, and we will see you at the Front Porch later on tonight.
And I just want to thank Kim and Lewis for running sound and video for us. And big thanks to y'all for stopping by WTJU. We look forward to seeing you again in 2022.